Hello, hello, Inter 1 students. Let's see in this class what we worked with in Unit 4B, the part of the book. Okay, let me share the book with you. It's right here. Right, 4B, we're talking about ability and possibility and lots of things. So in this first part here, what we did was I questioned each of the students for what they were able to do, what they could do, what they couldn't do. And it was a quite quick activity. And later on, I played the track here, and students completed the speech balloons, right? I'm going to give you the answers, right? They're here, right? It was quite easy, right? We're still talking about can and be able to, right? Can is used exclusively in the present or in the past or end in the past, and be able to can be used in all instances. Please take a look at the class about the grammar and exercises, right? And here, right, that we use can as the same as able to and so on. Very well. Later on, we had conversation in the breakout rooms. So we talked about this. You, right? You talked about this, and then you came back to the main room and you reported what you had heard from your friends. That was a good moment. Well, we didn't talk about this pronunciation stuff here because I didn't find it very relevant. Well, over here, we had this very boring part of the unit, right? All we did was to read, right? We read this here. There are two theoretical scientists, okay, theory scientists, psychologists, right? Here, Malcolm Gladwell, who says that it may take up to 10,000 hours, okay, of practice for you to master a new skill, a new ability. Whereas Josh Kaufman tells us that 20 hours of focused practice would be enough. Okay, I mean, from 10,000 hours to 20 hours, right? So this Matt here, he got a trumpet as a gift, but he gave up trying to learn. And then there's this very boring listening about the process. He wanted to try to prove that in 20 hours, he could finally play the trumpet, which didn't happen, right? These are the answers, okay? To some classes, I just didn't play this because it's so very boring, right? It takes you nowhere. Sorry. And here we have Matt again. But this time on this page 42, right? We have this vocabulary part which talks about ing and ed, right? That ed, right? Verbs that are made into adjectives, right? Like a bore, to bore, right? Bored or boring, right? Like to tire, tired, tiring, right? Or to frustrate, frustrated, frustrating, right? It's frustrating. So ed always remits, always tells you about feelings, how you feel or how somebody feels. So you normally use the verb to be, the verb feel, the verb get, right? I get frustrated, that's my feeling, right? I am frustrated, that's my feeling. I feel frustrated, that's my feeling again. So she feels tired, she's tired, she got tired. right? So ed takes you into feelings, and the ing takes you into characteristics. Okay, it shows characteristics of a certain person, thing, or event or process, etc. Right? So I say this film is very interesting. So it doesn't refer to feelings, it refers to outer characteristics. All right. So I say, wow, having poor connection, internet connection is very, very disappointing. Okay, like you expect something and it's not what you expected. Right. So the ed, feelings, the ing, characteristics. So we have this first one here that you have annoy. Okay, the teacher was annoyed. It was a characteristics of the teacher, and Matt was annoyed. That's how he felt, right? So there are a few words about it over here, down here, right? And then you did this exercise here, and we corrected in class. What music do you listen to if you feel depressed, right? Because it's feeling, right? What do you think is the most exciting sport to watch? Okay, that's characteristics of the sport. What's the most amazing, right? So it doesn't refer to feelings, characteristics of the scenery you've ever seen. Have you ever been disappointed? You disappointed, right? Feelings by a birthday present. Yes. Which do you find more tiring, right? This activity or that activity, okay? Clothes shopping or food shopping. What's the most embarrassing thing? Okay, so it's characteristics of the thing that you have been through, right? That's ever happened to you. Are you frightened? All right, ED, do you feel frightened of heights? Right, are you afraid of heights, of high places? Right? Do you usually feel very tired? Right, you feel tired in the morning. What's the most boring film? Right, it's the film, not feeling. And you've ever seen. And do you ever get frustrated? Okay, so frustrated, it's feeling, right? So we had this correction here, and after that, there was a moment for you to talk, right? A breakout room. And after the breakout room, each person reported what they heard over there, right? Well, and over here, this was a very enjoyable moment, right? Reading and speaking. This guy here had the brilliant idea of making the question, okay, what tips could you give for practicing English outside class, okay? So you read each one of the comments, and each person picked one of the, for him or for her, the best tip, right? So it was this here. Well, moving on, we had this other special moment, right? We didn't talk about this because this is still about the tips, right? But we did this here, right? We talked about the reflexive pronouns, and after that we had a Kahoot, and we had other things, right? To practice the reflexive pronouns. Reflexive pronouns are an easy part of the English language. It refers to, it is when a person does the activity and receives the activity upon herself, okay? So you have the reflexive pronouns, right? Reflexive pronouns, right? So you have I, myself. You will see that the first and the second person and the third persons, they get from adjectives, right? Possessive adjectives. You is yourself. You, yourself, he. Now it's object pronouns. Himself, she, object pronoun, herself. It is itself. We is plural, so you say ourselves, right? Ourselves. Oops. You again, and then they that you say themselves, right? So these are the reflexive pronouns, and it is like this, like I cut and I cut me. So I say I cut myself, right? I draw and I don't need help. So I say I draw by myself, right? I say I drive to work. I drive, I don't depend on people. So I drive myself, right? So I myself drive to work. So, but you can also say, for example, you say a child can say, I eat the food all by myself, right? Which means for us that that little child eats the food alone, right? So children usually say, all by myself, right? I mean, I write my name all by myself. So you don't need help, okay, because it is yourself. So you can say, I myself do it, or I do it by myself, okay, by yourself, by etc. So there was this very interesting kind of exercise, the listening. The listening speaks a sentence and then speaks one person, right? And this person, you speak the same sentence with this person. Like she's cut herself, you see? She's cut herself. So the activity here is cut. Now use you. So you cut yourself, right? And then there were six other sentences, and the students spoke what they had to speak, right? Very well. And then we had some practice with a Kahoot about this. Very well. Well, after we had this activity, then we talked about this guy here, brilliant mind. He speaks at the time, okay, in 2012, he could speak 11 different languages. He was fluent in 11 languages. And we talked about this, what these words might be in the language. And then we saw a video in which he spoke each one of the words there. And these are the answers, right? After that, we saw another video, right? That the guy was speaking again, Alex was speaking again about his experience in learning new languages, right? Why learn and etc. And later on, there's another video that he speaks about how to learn a language, what it takes to learn a language, and so on, right? So we saw the videos. We didn't answer the questions, right? But if you want the answers, they're here. Okay. All right, this is part of it. And this is the other part of it. All right, good. And to end, there was this, although we didn't do it, okay, but if you want the answers, here are the answers. Right? You never finish learning a language. Try to spend 10 to 15 minutes a day dedicated, focused in learning the language, right? Okay, guys, well, this was the part of 4B. Thank you very much. We'll see you in the next class. All right, goodbye.